All right, we're live.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Scott O Green. Welcome to I'd Rather Be Motivated. Today on the show, David Fleming and I are going to be talking with artist Chris Rao. Has a couple awesome Kickstarter, well, has one awesome Kickstarter going now. Previously, just kind of wrapped up another awesome Kickstarter. So we're going to get to that here in just a moment. Before we get started, David, why don't you tell us where else we can find you besides here on our channel and what your current project is that you're working on?
All right, guys, Dave Fleming. You can find me on Instagram at Art of Mr. Fleming. You can find me on Facebook at Mr. David Fleming. And that's basically, you can find me everywhere else. And I actually just got a link tree on my Instagram. So if you click there, you'll be able to find all of my links. Just really easy, all laid out for you.
And your project you're working on?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one. I'm quitting the business, actually. I'm currently working on what I'm calling Analog Missions, which is a like a 3-part short story series set in a world that I've been creating for a really long time.
Sounds killer. Awesome. Well, I'm Scott Green. Like I said before, where you can find me when I'm not here is on Instagram at Mr. Green Draws. That's mr.greendraws. The project I'm working on most currently is right here, my Mr. Green's Monster Zine. These are all the original kind of art pages from it, and I'm getting dangerously close to having that book ready to go to print. Just a fun little zine, kind of an idea of a themed sketchbook, sort of an idea. But that's what I got going on. But what we're really here for is to talk to Mr. Chris Rao about what he has going on. So Rao, tell us where we can find you.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me on. My Instagram, if you want to find me on there, it's Mr. Rao Art with underscores. So Mr._Rao_art. You can also follow me on Facebook if you just search for Chris Rao Artist or Chris Rao Kansas City or something like that. And things I've been working on is I had a successful Kickstarter that happened this summer that Scott was just talking about. That's a book called Magnus. Hey, look at that. You got it too.
I got it too. It's a beautiful book.
So this is my company here. So that happened this summer, and I'm doing pretty good with that. We're selling a lot of them, and it's fun. And then what I've got now is I've got a new Kickstarter called I Had a Nightmare. It's some short stories. You see that? I don't know if that'll work. There you go. It's a collection of short stories written by. Well, actually, I don't even know if they're classified as short stories. They're sort of like journal entries. One of my friends. One of the guys that me and Fleming both work with, his name is Paul Donovan. He has these things called, he actually has sleep paralysis, and he has these really creepy experiences. And he writes really eloquently about them, like in kind of short frame, like very concise, like journal entries. And so he'd been writing about them, and I thought it would be a cool idea if we like collected them and turned them into like a illustrated book, kind of like those old scary stories books from the 80s and 90s. And so that's what we've done. And the Kickstarter's been super successful in the first couple days here.
Yeah, congratulations up front, man. That's pretty awesome.
Appreciate it.
I saw that. I was excited to like get on there right away, and I'm like, shoot, it's funded. I'm not giving him any money.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. Last time your Magnus funded pretty early, and we just like kept it rolling and got more funding, and then ended up getting that awesome poster with it. So if we can get more people going on this one, see what happens. But it totally gave me that old scary stories vibe with the artwork. Definitely your hand behind it and everything. But that's a cool vibe, and that title is super simple but pretty awesome. No one says the words "I had a nightmare" in like a confident, strong voice, no matter who you are. It's always like the weakest when you're like, "I had a nightmare."
I took it from the author. He like posts his nightmares on Facebook. Sometimes he'll like write them, and like one time he just started it with I had a nightmare. Like it was like he was just informing us. Like he had woken up in the middle of the night and was like, "Hey guys, I just had a nightmare. Here it is." And I read it. I thought that would make a really awesome title for a book. So.
Have either of you guys ever suffered from like sleep paralysis?
No, I never have. Thank God.
Yeah, no, I rarely remember my dreams at all.
Sleep paralysis is creepy.
I
don't have tons of nightmares, but that I have just really weird sleeping issues. Have always, so I kind of sleep shallowly a lot.
Yeah.
And, yeah, man, that's a creepy, powerless feeling. But
well, his general vibe is that he's always in his room, so he'll wake up in his room. He'll think he's awake, but then things will happen. Like, is that what happened with you? Do you have like hallucinate?
yeah, one of my worst ones was dreaming that like I woke up in my room, step out of bed, and as soon as my foot hit the ground, like everything started to go really kind of cattywampus, and it was just like all I could do to make it to my light switch, just make it to the light switch. And then I flipped on the light and nothing happened. And then I woke up in bed, but I couldn't move.
That's right.
And I couldn't do anything. And from that point, there was no, then I woke up and sat up. It was just from being there paralyzed, not being able to move, to slowly starting to groan and move an arm and then sit up in bed, breathing real heavy, man. It's a weird one, but I'm just excited for the theme of it, man. It hits home, so I'm excited to check it out.
Oh, good. Well, luckily you don't have like visitors, like scary monsters in there with you. Like
not often. It doesn't usually go that far. It's really just a paralyzed and just paranoid and what's happening thing. So
in Paul's situation, it would have been exactly how you described just a second ago. And then when you reach for the light and nothing happened, there would be like a giant monster next to you. Like that's kind of where his stuff goes.
Well, that's where like theories with like alien abduction and stuff is like that's what those people would say is happening to him right then is, oh, well, you're being abducted by aliens and you sort of woke up for a little bit of it. But
that was part of his spoiler alert. He kind of talks about it. He didn't know what these were. He had this in like the early 90s, and he thought for the longest time that he literally was abducted by aliens. He had no idea. So he thought he like was a weirdo. And then he finally like learned about this and figured out what was actually happening.
Yeah. Well, I think, isn't it like it's like your body produces something that does paralyze you when you're sleeping? So when you are having dreams and nightmares, you're not thrashing around or actually trying to run away from the scary thing. But then sometimes people wake up too quick, or just those levels. It's like coming up when you're a scuba diver too quick and getting the bends or something. It just things don't work out right.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right.
Well, anyway, that's really cool. That's pretty awesome how that all came about.
Oh, and I'm looking for a Halloween release. Obviously, I didn't want to like stack my books right on top of each other, but this just fits for Halloween so well that I had to get it out soon. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm kind of wondering, I want to ask you if you actually thought it helped you, the fact that not only are your two projects stacked back to back, but you were able to get the first book out to everybody. And like I've had my book for a while, holding it not too long, and then another one's going. So not only are they stacked, but you've like already proven that you like fulfill your stuff on time and quick and everything. And it's like, it seemed like that first one funded so well and was so great. You know, not like you're purposely doing, because like you said, you're trying for the October release, but almost like riding the wave of that. If you think that that actually kind of helped in this situation.
So that's interesting that you said that. I was concerned that it wouldn't help. I thought that people would get overwhelmed or annoyed or whatever, like my fan base or my family or whatever. But actually Fleming and one of our other coworkers were like, no, you should do it because of exactly what you just mentioned. It would be like, there's like a little bit of a momentum. Like we had the Magnus signing party last Friday, and then I started and I was talking about it at the live event. And so it kind of built some momentum. And I hadn't thought about that idea, but I had just like very recently proven that it'll actually get to the reader's hands. That's an interesting idea. Because I have a lot of, Fleming and I could both tell you of a lot of artists that we've given money to and like never received anything, or it lasted like years and years and years. So yeah, I thought about it, but I thought about it negatively. So I needed some convincing to set it up this way, but the Halloween thing got me going, and I'm glad that I did because it's going pretty well. And one thing I've noticed about this one is it's not quite as, I don't know, it's very popular. It's going very well, but it's not like the earth-shattering Magnus level, but it's still really good. And what I'm noticing is that a lot of my like friends or family or whatever who just wanted to support me on Magnus, I got a big push from people. I have a very supportive like network, and this time around they're not like doing the huge bids or like the 150 or the whatever. They just kind of bought a book, and so it's nice to see on the second one I've been able to sustain a level of success or whatever without having my core like cousins and my mom and stuff giving me a lot of money. So it seems like it's it seems like the fan base is like maintaining, which is nice.
So it is really feeling like it's the fan base that's pulled this one through this quickly.
Yeah, well, and also the fact that the author has a decent following on like social media through his writing. So we're getting some of his people, we're getting some of my family, but we're also getting like, you know, people who have just become, I don't want to say fans because it sounds weird, but like people who I don't know from growing up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've latched on since I've been doing this professionally.
People who follow you because of your art.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Very cool. And yeah, that seems awesome. It seems like a lot of folks nowadays, with everyone being able to produce their own work and work on their own projects and self-publish and all this, I don't know that it's necessarily ego behind it, but one of the beauties in comic creation is that you can completely do something from start to finish by yourself,
Mhm.
or you can break it up into a team of 5 or 6 people or just 2 people or whatnot. But it seems like a lot of people nowadays are really kind of going it alone. They have their idea and they're spending so much time working on it, which makes sense and everything. But it's awesome that, like, for the reason that you just said, and kind of why David and I kind of team up for I'd Rather Be Drawing, is when you're doing it with another, when you have an author and artist team, you know, that's both fan bases kind of bringing, whether it's family or fans or random people, it just seems like that much more to the table, which can only help.
It also ups the quality. So like I'm an okay writer or whatever, but so the common through line here is that I've went out and sought out a like talented writer and then illustrated the book. Like I'm like the creator of the project, but I'm merely the illustrator, you know? So it's a weird thing because generally speaking, people who write books are the author. But in this case, I'm sort of like the driving engine and I'm just the illustrator. So I'm in this position where I can go like recruit authors and then draw their pictures for them, which is kind of cool. I'm thinking about like maybe even starting a little like publishing company, like where I create these little square books, I raise a couple thousand to get the print and then like maybe give authors like a platform, because it's been really fun and it'd be like nice to maybe go, have some people submit some stuff and then I'll make your book for you kind of thing. I'm just enjoying it and I think it's like a sustainable business plan.
Well, yeah, especially like the how similar these projects are, but not at all.
Right.
You're the artist and there's, a writer or whatnot, but like the way you've done it on both seems so far drastically different. But like you said, yeah, so you'd think like keep it like in a sort of square format thing. So like all your books kind of have a similar look and feel, like, oh, that's a Chris Rao publishing book, or that's a Rao book. That's
exactly right. So like I've got in this with Magnus here, so I've got the cover or whatever, and then on the back it's kind of got my logo on the back there. You see that? So
yeah,
this might be like the calling card, the exact same amount of pages, the same size, and then it'll just be like image on the front and then my logo and like maybe a different color scheme or whatever, so that like if I were to have a number of them on the shelf, you'd be able to. But that's my book. So I'm definitely doing sequels to Magnus because it was such a success, and I've got more stories in mind. And I also want to do Weaver and Dutch, which was that part of it as a comic. I think I might convert it to this same sort of style book. I'm getting used to it.
Cool. I don't know if it was just me or not, but you're cutting out just a little bit towards the end there, but I think
I lost you a bit on there too. I might think he's on his phone.
Oh, maybe. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
you're cool. Yeah, I think just a little bit towards the end there, but talking about completing Weaver and Dutch. And
yeah, I was thinking I might convert it to this style because I'm now, used to it and I'm comfortable with the production, and I might just make, 3 or 4 Weaver and Dutch books one of these days and just have them in that same kind of binding.
It really is pretty, and I was going to say that before, like not only is it like you prove that you can get the product there, but for folks, and you're showing it there, I know, but it is really a cool, is that it's not staple bound, so is that glue bound?
I don't remember what it's called. My printer buddy told me, but that sounds right, maybe.
Gotcha, something like that. But it is pretty because it's not just your staple thing, And I love the feel of the cover and everything. That little bit of a matte finish to even the color, and the matte finish on your pencil drawings. It really came through as a very nice looking book. So I just wanted to mention that it's a good product, not just it got done and they got it.
Right. Thanks, man.
But it is quite nice.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
One of those things that we try to. It's the difference between like getting a nice trade that had like collected volume of a comic that feels nice and thick, and just like a floppy. Like it's got that nice book feel to it.
Yeah, thanks.
So, any secrets behind your Kickstarter success? I don't know if anyone's just straight asked you that one. Anything that you can attribute it to, or just kind of what we've talked about, just kind of rolling after the last one?
Well, so I think that it's like, in the first one, it was like I had promoted it a lot, like over the course of like, build up of like a month or two. You like draw stuff on Instagram and post stuff on Facebook or whatever it might be. And I have a really supportive like core group of friends and family who have, it's not like it's nothing for them to drop $30 to help out a friend kind of thing. So that's helpful. Like I come from a very privileged situation, but like sort of moving forward now that I'm thinking as I'm like the Magnus one, I don't know if I'll achieve that level of like explosion again, just because all of my friends and family have been waiting for me to make a comic book for like 30 years, so they were primed for it. But moving forward, I think like surrounding yourself with like a great artist, like author rather, like somebody who has some skin in the game, who wants to promote the book also, then doing like the Instagram stuff, doing live drawings and things like that seem to help. And then the one thing is like, I think a lot of people on Kickstarter think that if they just get a cool banner or like they make it look nice and just get it on Kickstarter, that Kickstarter, like the community is going to like help them build it up. And that's really not the case. Like you don't want to rely on Kickstarter to be like your engine. Like all of my Kickstarter pledges or whatever, like based on me. Like I go out and like I'm posting about it. I'm sending people individual messages. I'm contacting people who have bought art from me in the past and been like, hey, check this thing out. So it's like a lot of, on like my launch day, it's a lot of work, and like in a good way. But it's like, hey, I mean, I think I sent you one, Scott. I'm sure I sent Fleming. This is like, hey, I just finished this thing. Check it out. I'd really like it if you look at it. I'm sending that out. Like I'm sending like hundreds of those out. So I guess a tip would be don't rely on Kickstarter. Like you need to be your promotional engine. And
so you really got to drive the people there. Get out there, get loud, and say, "Hey, come look at this thing now."
And it's not in the form of like just posting a post on Instagram or Facebook. Even if you have like 50,000 followers, you need to like make an individual contact with a bunch of different people. Like that's my little tip, I guess. That's like
okay,
kind of a salesman-y vibe. But like if you like go down your list of whether your Rolodex or whatever of close friends or people who've bought stuff from you, and then make an individual conversation with them on launch day and be like, hey, I really appreciate it if you check this thing out, blah, blah, blah. And then, only about 10% of them are going to, but that's, a lot. Like people feel a push when you ask them personally.
So for anybody watching out there who maybe a lot of artists, or we get a lot of artists in the community, and you want to support each other, but sometimes it's hard when everyone's got a Kickstarter, everyone's got a book out. Are you ever put down if you share that with somebody and they're unable to support you, but they share it on their feed and help get the word out?
No, that's nothing. That's great. That's a win, actually. That's not even, I get that a lot. Like actually there's a guy on Instagram, Annie D Art, you know him. He's like a pretty famous artist on Instagram. You can follow him later if you get a chance. But he's got like 100,000 followers or something, and he's like I like worship the dude. He lives in Switzerland. Anyway, I invited him to buy the book, and he was like, "Sorry, dude, I'm broke. I wish I could, but I'll shout you." And that got me. I don't know if it actually got me any supporters, but it got me like 35 followers on Instagram yesterday just by him mentioning my name. So it's like, that's even like if you couldn't afford it and you wanted to just tell your brother or tell your friends or whatever, that's fine. And quite frankly, even if you can't afford it and you don't even respond, I don't care. I don't take anything personally at all.
Sure. I just want to make sure people out there know that for artists, liking and commenting and sharing and reviewing and all that stuff, it all feels good, because the artists know that it all helps, and it's not just fuel, but it's fuel with purpose. So it does whether now or down the road, it helps out. So anybody out there, even if you can't, or you get, you're getting all those emails, just share that stuff around because it always helps.
Yeah, and even like I'm not really doing this. Is more of like a passion project. I don't like need this money to survive or anything. So honestly, like buying a book is great, but like also sharing a post is equally great. It's just a positive charge. It's all just varying levels of positivity.
Well, I think it's coming through because it seems like you're hitting a stride, which is exciting to see because David Fleming and Chris Rao here, they both work together, so they've known each other quite well. And I've known David for a while and came to know Chris through David and seeing him at Comic-Cons and everything. So I've been seeing his work for a while and projects that he's been working on. Sorry, I'm talking about you like you're not here or whatever. But yeah, it's quite evident. I think your joy in drawing and in art is really coming through in these pages that I've seen here and on the new ones. It seems like you're just finding an awesome avenue where, like you said, it's not about the money thing. It's not about how much money can I raise on Kickstarter. It's kind of like, it's exciting to see how many people can get excited about your artwork and get it in their hands and everything, because your excitement, like I said, it's coming through. And when people really kind of find that and they, it's like you got runner's high right now. You're hitting it and it's looking good.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about you? What's your October book? That looks awesome.
October. I'm working on it, man. Like you said, I like the idea more and more on these different projects, finding people to work with. And I think I'm getting to a point where I like the art enough. I think I'm going to invest on color on this one. I don't think a pumpkin Halloween character can go in just black and white. So
yeah,
and I don't think I'm there on coloring yet, and I think I'm okay with that. So trying to get that going.
Have you thought about just hitting him with orange and that's it? Black and white and a little bit of orange?
Yeah, I have done that, like when I've done just kind of illustrations of him throughout the years and like a couple 1 or 2 page things. I do that sort of Sin City with the red, only with orange. So like Halloween decorations around or kids' costumes, be orange highlights here and there. But even when I do that, it's cool for like the single page illustrations, but I don't know. I kind of feel like somebody else's hand could bring it to another level that I can't necessarily do it on my own.
Right.
And I'm wanting to kind of invest a little bit more time in this one and script things out. And like the cover I was working on, which is this guy here. Oh, I'm still staring at it. This guy was kind of intended as like a mock-up cover. I think I'm going to end up turning a guy that I met through my work was kind of interested and shot me an email after I posted it about maybe doing like a traditional coloring on this thing that he'd be interested in doing. So maybe turn that into a postcard or something like that. But really kind of trying to do my homework and get all, David Fleming about this one and really kind of invest the time to make it good.
Anal retentive?
A little bit, I think I could use that. I jump in with the learn by doing motto, but I think I want to put the kind of school mind to work a little bit more and do the homework, turn in the practice sketches and actually write out the script. When I've done comics in the past, I do what I think a lot of artists do, which is kind of have an idea from point A to point B, and you can kind of see the visual beats in your head, and you're like, I'll figure out the dialogue on the page as I go or later. But I think I'd really just try to get that stuff figured out, so when I start drawing, I can just kind of hit the page and not be worrying about what comes next. So we'll see.
If you decide to make it not a traditional comic and you want to try doing this book thing, I could help you publish it. You could publish it under my publishing company.
Yeah.
Square book, maybe. I think that'd be awesome.
Square format?
Maybe. I don't know. If you decide to bail on the comic, I think it would look really good. I think that your art style would sell really well. It's super cute and fun and interesting. I think it would definitely sell.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. It felt good kind of getting that illustration out, and I really want to just kind of hit the pavement and start just drawing this thing, but I gotta get a good story behind it. It's all up here, but I want to make sure, like you said, we're not writers first, we're artists first, and I don't want the book to read like it was written by an artist. You know what I mean?
Well, think about it. If you
but I appreciate that, man. Yeah.
Switch to the square book format. I'm becoming a pro at it. We can maybe make October into one of these. But I know you kind of really like that classic comic, so. It's up to you, man.
Dude, I finally just settled on that because for lack of just knowing which way to go with it.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe that's enough of a push to decide on something different. So we'll see.
Cool, man.
I appreciate it.
I think it's a really good comment actually, because I mean we've had this talk a lot, me and Rao, and just like what comics look like nowadays there's no traditional anymore. You know what I mean? Like just being able to draw like a cool illustration and be able to put a story to it and that kind of stuff. Like I mean even like your style is very like in my mind too like I imagine like kids book illustration like really fun like lively illustration and that kind of stuff too. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm thinking too. And my format's already kind of kids book anyway. I think it would work really well.
All right. I'm going to start thinking. I did that last one in a square format, really just to kind of be like a 45 record. And when you open up a square format book and you have that great long panorama view, it can really work nice, especially for big, long, weird, spooky scenes through a forest and stuff like that. So, man, you got my gears turning. I might have to switch this over to. See, that's why things like this, you don't be too precious with art because you might have to change to a square format. And that's
I think you're holding the cover right there, no matter what it ends up being. That's really, really cool.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. When you said that the other day, it was a weird thing where like I've been like that's why I mean like all your pencil drawings have really resonated with me, and seeing your graphite pencil where I've been drawing with like blue pencil and orange pencil to do that layering thing for scanning and all that, but it just felt so good to just dig in with an old number 2 pencil on the page and see that, and I was like. Yeah, it felt good. And then, yeah, your compliment was a simple one, but I really appreciate it coming from you. So thank you, sir.
You bet. I don't even remember what I said.
You said, this doesn't suck or something like that. No. Yeah, it was just a nice comment. You just said it was rad.
It doesn't suck sounds a lot like Rao, actually.
No.
Well, like there's certain times when people say that they like something that you know that's a generic, hey, I'm going to make a comment on this to help you out, and that's great and everything. But sometimes you can kind of hear it in somebody's voice. It's like, I like this. And,
yeah, that was the case.
You kind of know those, and you're like, sweet, thanks.
Yeah, dude. I'm in. Maybe next Halloween we send out an October book.
Dude, I know. That was my ultimate goal was to have it ready like this time of year, but, you know, it'll be there. But, yeah, I'd like to actually, you know, I've been thinking a lot about this one for a while and want to get like a little doll made of him, like a little plushie or something like that, and a couple little things like that, and trick or treat. I don't know, like certain things with this I think could work out well, like selling trick or treat bags, tote bags, and stuff like that, or not too out there in coffee cups and shower curtains and all that stuff. But I don't know, I'm trying to figure this one out.
Yeah, dude, I think you got something.
I mean, definitely shower curtains.
Yeah.
But can it just be my face? Like, just like.
It just has nothing to do with October. It's just your face on a shower curtain.
I mean, it would be scary, you know. That's cool.
Right.
That's a good stretch goal.
So, Ra, what's your next step with this whole thing going on? It's funded. I know you don't have a whole lot of time left for needing to get going, but as far as your next steps and closing remarks, what are you thinking now that it's funded and you still got a lot of time left? What are your plans?
Okay, so with the Nightmare book, I have a couple of things. I need to finish about 3 or 4 drawings for the book because unlike Magnus, this is not going to be drawing passage. It's going to be much more in the style of like an illustrated book. So I'm only going to have about 16 drawings in a 46-page book. So there's going to be a lot more text. That's also to highlight Paul's writing because it's really incredible. Not that Sam's wasn't. Sam's is amazing too, but Paul's is more like journal entry. So it wouldn't be right to break it up every page, but you'll see what I'm saying. So anyway, I've got about maybe 3 more drawings, and then we might do a stretch goal. Stretch goal, spoiler alert here. If we hit a certain number, we haven't exactly decided yet. I think it might be 3,000. If we hit that, we're going to include another story that's super graphic and scary. So it's like going to be at the end. It's going to be like a warning, you know, if you want to read at your own risk kind of thing. So that'll be.
You got to buy the DVD and the extra bonus feature to get this one because it's so bad we can't show you.
That's it. That's exactly right. So I think that's what we're going to go with the stretch goal. If we hit it, we're going to just add more content. So those are the things for the Nightmare book. We should have the book. I should have it completely finished, laid out, and ready to go when the funding ends on the 23rd of September, and then I will send it out to the printer. Probably get the books back early October, and then get them mailed out in mid-October. So that'll be happening, and then after that, next summer, or I guess kind of like annually, I'm going to do Magnus Part 2, same style. But in between then and now, me and another buddy, well, Fleming can tell you, he was going to break some news for you.
Break it, Fleming.
Break it, break it. So another buddy of ours that we kind of met through the comic convention, playing with the writing for like a 1.5 adventure. It's going to be a fun, like, what happens between it. It's going to be a little more lighthearted and just kind of like for the sake of like seeing more Magnus before the next book.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I'm gonna try to release it for free, like a web comic, and it's gonna be like a comic book style. Like I'm gonna do a fully inked page with like the text bubbles and like a more cartoony version of Magnus, you know. And it's gonna be he's already written like a 4-page, maybe 20-panel little quick story. I'm gonna try to do that because I've never done a full color finished thing. I'm gonna try to release it for free on the internet, and then ultimately my goal with the Magnus sort of property, I guess, would be that I'd have the 3. My goal is to make a trilogy of this size book, and then in between each one, so then 2 other little web comics, and then package it all together in like, you know, like a thick omnibus one of these days. You know, like I could have like a hardback cover. You know,
That sounds sexy.
Like a Big Mac. You know, you've got like bread, like you got the 3 buns, and then the little.
You know your audience.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Dude, that sounds really awesome. I love it, man. You got to, that's what I mean. You're just hitting your stride. It feels like we're just now starting to see what you can do, and it's just going to kind of get better from here.
Well, thanks, man. I think so with the Magnus trilogy, hopefully, with the Halloween book or the Nightmare book, possibly releasing Weaver and Dutch in this manner, and then an October book next year. I'm going to have a nice little library of Chris Rao art publishing books.
Hear that? He's like already quoting you.
I'm liking the sound of that. You're a good sell. He's already like sold me on it. He's like, so I've already got you in the car, so you're going to go ahead and just drive away.
Right.
And just pay me tomorrow. We're good.
A shelf of like 10 different books. They're all the same size, different color, different content. It'll be really nice. You're in.
One of them's yours.
I love it. I love it. See?
Remember,
community behind you.
That's going to go on the back of your book, though. You're going to have to think about that. I'll make
That's
okay.
Can it be orange?
It can definitely be orange. I'll put your logo down here, really, really, really small, right there in the corner.
Yeah. No, I don't even. Yeah. Can I just put your name as the artist? Actually, can I use your name as my pen name?
No, I've got like a quality concern thing. You know, I've got a certain level that I have to achieve.
What, ethics?
Yeah.
Hey, I did want to give a shout out real quick. It's been an awesome conversation with you, and we have had a couple people in the chat. So, want to say what's up to Joe Straws and Ace. Thank you guys for joining us. And I did want to let you know, Chris, I don't know if you saw, but it says, hey, Mr. Rao just sent a pledge your way. Looking forward to receiving the new book.
Who's that?
From Joe Straws out there.
My dog, Joe Straws, man.
Mm-hmm.
Love that kid.
And Ace is in the chat too, claiming to be the one writing your script.
He is writing the script for Magnus 1.5. That is correct. But
is he really?
That's the first time he's ever said something true. So there you go.
That's awesome. I'm really excited to hear that, man.
Yeah. He's a
fan fiction becoming real.
That's right.
I love it.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming on. I need to go. Thanks for having me. But I gotta go.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick. Well, and we'll kind of have the posts and everything on there. But go ahead and just remind us where, right now, if anybody's watching this, where you want them to go for the next, 18 days? Where do you want them to go?
Go to Kickstarter and then search for I Had a Nightmare. Go to Kickstarter, search for I Had a Nightmare. You will see that the project is already funded, which means that you'll definitely get a book. But if you want to support us before the fact, that would be wonderful. The more money we raise, the more copies we can make, and the cooler we can make the book. We have an idea that if we make enough money, we will print all of the pages in black and have the text in white, which is a little more expensive to print, but it'll look that much cooler. So that's one thing we're looking for.
I totally thought you were about to make like a Spinal Tap joke and say like we're just gonna print the whole book black, like just that's the book.
Yeah, it's just a black abstract. No, I thought it would look really neat to have black pages with white text. It just turns out that much ink is a little bit more expensive. So if we can get a little more money coming our way, we can definitely do that and make a cooler product.
Very cool. I love it, man. Good luck to you. Excited to see what you do, and yeah, keep us posted.
All right,
we'll have you on again, hopefully sometime as your projects just keep unfolding.
I appreciate it. Think about October, man. Let's do it. I'm for real.
All right, man. I like that. Sounds good.
See you guys later. See you tomorrow.
Peace. Have a good one, Chris.
Later. I don't know.
Thank God that guy is gone.
Hey, man, I'm still here. How dare
Oh,
you?
crap.
It's
so
totally
embarrassing.
Can you leave?
I don't know. So,
Dude,
David, how's it going? Is he still there?
I can't leave. It won't let me. I had to turn off my phone and everything.
You just can't quit me, can you?
If I need to boot you, is that real? Is it not letting me get off?
I think you might have to kick me out.
All right, hold on. Give me a second.
Old guys on phone.
Well, hey, we can also just sort of sign out too if we need to.
No, I got him. I'm about to hit the eject button.
Sweet. Hold on.
All right.
Back your parachute.
I'm ejecting you, buddy. Get out. Oh, wait.
Chris Rao.
Oh, Fleming, you just kicked somebody else out.
I totally kicked him out, didn't I?
All right, I'm out. I'm just going to turn my phone off. It'll work.
All right. No, I got you now. You're out. Yeah, I definitely totally kicked Scott. All right. Well, what's up, guys? Totally did that on purpose. I just stole the show. It's just me now. Welcome to the Fleming Show. So I'm gonna get Scott to come back in here, and we're gonna finish this off by kind of just doing our usual check-in and doing our thing and wrapping this guy up here. As you listen to me cough because of this cold that I've had for the past like 3 episodes, I still also have. All right, so by the way, if you guys were wondering, the thing that I'm working on right now, I'm working on a little bit of like a gray tone poster, one-of-a-kind thing for a charity auction sale that I'm going to be doing this Saturday, kind of local thing for a family that I used to work with, so I'm kind of pretty excited about that one. Scott is now in the chat, just being a casual observer. I'm sending him a... Oh, there he is. He's back in. All right.
That was on my phone a while late, so when I was like, did you kick him off? And you're like, yeah. Oh, I was laughing so hard. Old guys on phones. So, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I totally clicked on his face. That was like a total Scott move for me to like kick the wrong person.
See, dude, that's the rough thing. That's why I really appreciate our partnership, because my curse doesn't just stop at me; it extends to other people around me. Yeah, it's for reals.
Love
so
it.
Anyway, what were you talking about?
I was just doing the solo show, but I was like jarred, and I was like, "Oh crap! I have to be entertaining all of a sudden. I better do this thing." And then I was just talking about the piece that I'm working on here. This is kind of like the first preview anyone's gotten of this. I haven't even posted my 2 finished of my Cyborg or my Aquaman. So for anyone watching, they're getting their first little share of this poster I've been working on for the past almost 2 weeks now.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm loving how it's turning out. So I'm gonna keep this like gray tone like version, just with just him rendered. I'm gonna do that. I don't know if you ever saw those pieces I made. I printed them like 16 by 20, like really big, and put them in a nice frame. And I like splattered like my own paint like on the actual physical print, kind of made like a cool one of a kind to me afterwards.
Nice.
I plan to do that with this one, kind of make it like just a cool like 1-out-of-1 signed like thing. It's for that that charity auction for Dahlberg family.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
This is gonna be like a silent auction piece.
Very cool.
And then I'll do a cool color version for like the con scene. But actually, I kind of really love like the way this turned out. It's like there's like that really nice simplicity to it.
I like it. It has a nice cover to it that feels somehow classic but new at the same time.
Yeah, and that's kind of actually what I was going for.
Nailed it.
It was really
cool, man. That was a cool episode with Rao. I'm glad that worked out to have him on. Yeah, it literally went from like, hey, I think I'm going to launch this Kickstarter to Kickstarter funded.
Yeah, man, for real. It's like he said, he like if there's any advice he can give, and he gives it to me all the time, it's just like that whole concept of like you only need 1,000 fans or whatever, and you're good for life. Like he's probably, I mean, he's a quarter of the way, maybe halfway there to that idea of just like he just has like a really, really strong core group of people who like follow and just support him and stuff.
Well, I like the idea too that he said that it's not just about making your posts, but making contact with people on a personal level.
Yeah,
that makes good sense to me, and helps put in a fresh light things that were going on with the last book I was selling and what was going on. So very enlightening. But
yeah, it's definitely real. I mean, you think about like when we do a con together, right? Like our best sales we've ever had and all that kind of stuff, or success, whatever you want to call it, has been just like us together, just talking to dudes, right? Like, I mean, just put that into the scene of just online social media and what it looks like right now, right? It's the same thing. It's just being personable with people, having like putting out those positive vibes.
Well, it's funny. I mean, that's one of my biggest, I don't know, bits of advice just for people in life is just go talk to humans, and whether it's one-on-one online or in person or whatever, you'd be surprised what can happen just by going up and talking to the person, But makes sense here in art as well, not just these big broad posts that go to everybody that it's easy to just kind of, shuffle past and everything. But it's a little bit harder to ignore when someone messages you and goes, hey, here's the thing. If you get a chance to take a look at it, thanks.
Well, it's kind of like you made the comment, even like it happens all the time on like Instagram and some of my other places. Like you get that comment that like you're like, oh, thanks for taking the time, but like the comment feels super like just disingenuous. It's just like, wow, cool drawing. Like your thing looks awesome. This is great. It's just like sometimes it's like there's nothing specific. It just feels very just like passing glance comment. Nothing's like personal about it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Just like taking that attempt to make like that extra bit of like, oh, it's not just awesome. It's because like you just said, oh, that's that classic cover feel. It's like that, making that extra bit of just like effort to like make that person know you weren't just like just blowing the wind so that they saw you.
Yeah, makes good sense, man. Human relationships are real.
That's like a thing I've actually just been trying to do more. Actually, you have kind of inspired that for me. I always tease you that like you're that person who like accidentally wanders backstage and then you end up on stage, and like all of a sudden you're a part of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
well, it's the trick is it's not really an accident.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, it's just because like everywhere you go, you're a positive dude. Like no one could like be like, oh crap, here comes Scott. It's like, oh hey, it's good day. Hey, what's up, man? It's like just that like being a genuine dude to other people and not just like worried about your own results of the thing, which is I feel like happens a lot on social media. I've been loving it lately of just like making extra connections with like random artist pages that I'm like, whoa, this is actually like you're working on a comic, this is great. And then it's like here's a real comment, like great panel work, like this is fantastic. Your compositions are like blowing my mind. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I made some like extra closer like artists, like just random people that I like I'd feel comfortable sending them that message of like, hey dude, like I just made a Kickstarter, you just made a Kickstarter, I'm gonna buy your book because I love the vibe you give, just stuff like that. I don't know. The more I spend money on your art, the more I realize like you're buying the person and the art, and not just great art doesn't do it for me anymore.
For sure, and I think it's cool too because it's not just the person either, you know, like where sometimes I think we get worried, like Rao even kind of kept mentioning, and I wanted to say, like, you know, a lot of help from family and friends supporting the book, which is great and everything. But if the art sucked, you know, they probably wouldn't be supporting it so much.
Right.
So you got to have that. But yeah, I mean, it all goes hand in hand, right?
It does. This brings me to kind of like a thought of like I feel like our next week's episode, maybe we should do like a fun episode about like doing cons and like don't get stuck in the sketchbook and get out from behind the table kind of talk.
That would be cool. It seems like a lot of people have some of those things coming up soon. And Peter Palmiotti, if you guys were around, not this last weekend, but a week from last Sunday, had some issues with that broadcast. And we're definitely going to have him on again. He's done inking. He draws and makes comics. And he's kind of getting his publishing stuff going as well, his own kind of company and everything called Has Studios, the Human Art Studio. But he's also a professional inker who's been in the business a long time, worked for DC and Marvel. So he's getting stuff squared away because he's in the middle of 100 days of making comics. So it's hard to balance everything sometimes with that. But we are going to have him on again. And some of them will just be David and I. Sorry. But I kind of feel like you said, this is fun to talk with different people. And why not help sort of spread the word for some folks? So I think you might see a few more of these interview episodes.
Yeah, the special guest thing, I mean, this definitely was not our original like thought or anything like that, but I definitely think like we're doing this once every Sunday, maybe like once a month we try to find someone, or I mean, that's a very, like, I'm throwing the goal out there, and if it happens, right? But I like the idea of getting somebody else on here. I mean, just like, it's like you said, like getting another perspective, like just getting that talk about your book. Like I've had these thoughts of like saying things like that too, but I haven't. I don't know why, but like Rao was just like ready to just be like, what if it looked different? Like, what if you did just go for it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was really cool and unexpected. Him talking about, I mean, compliments are always really nice, but you kind of sound like no BS about some of that publishing stuff that he's wanting to get going. So
yeah, extra
pressure, man, make it good.
Rao is the definition of no BS. Like if he throws out an idea, it's real.
And I love that. I used to be part of groups where you'd sit around with your friends and go, hey, wouldn't it be a cool idea if we did such and such? And you could have just taken that thing over to the toilet and go, yeah, that would be cool. Plump, and flush. Because you just never follow through on it. You just talk about it. Because that's why they say you can't copyright ideas. You got to make something with it. And it's awesome being around people like yourself, David, and Chris, and all of these other people who are excited to make stuff because it just gets you to want to make stuff.
Oh my gosh, I have like always been the doer, and I've realized that the more I do this kind of stuff too, with like just putting myself out there, it's like that comment you just made. Like I literally can remember times of like being just younger, a kid or whatever, and we're sitting around with friends, and like everyone's like, yeah, what if we did this cool thing? And I'm like already doing it. I'm like in the backyard, like building a fort, and everyone's like, oh, we just thought, oh, you're really building that? It's like, yeah, dude, let's build a fort, let's do it.
And see, that's all. I think that attracts me to your personality because honestly, like I wasn't always that kid. I love going out and playing all that stuff, but I don't know. Like when you sort of think, oh, we should start a band, and you're like, I'm not good enough to play music, or you know, like even on here when you try to get people to draw, and they're like, oh, I can't draw. You know, it's like some people think that you have to be given this ability to make things or do stuff or oh, that's just for other people, you know. But it's cool being around people who are like, oh, I've never done that before, let's jump in and get our hands dirty. It's learned by doing, man, and it rubs off, and that's why it's good to be around other artists and people who are motivated, because it helps motivate you.
Yeah, I can't even, like what you just said too, like I was like trying to actually describe that to a student today, like just like jump in and get your hands dirty. I was like, we have a thing called advisory, and it's kind of like, it's just like the in-between class of like, it's like study hall, and sometimes there's like a thing to like information to pass to our students, and I was just sitting there kind of like working this. And I had this student, he is an amazing artist, he really is, and he was like Fleming, I wanna sell my art. And I was like, all right, man, like do you have any, like what are you trying to do that right now? You know what I mean? Like do you put it out there? Like, do you ask people to buy it? Like, do people even know you want to do, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. Like, He was like, well, I want to do like digital stuff. And I was like, cool. But like, how many videos have you watched on it? Like, how many, like, do you know anything about it? And he was like, no. what video should I watch? And I was like, in my head, I just wanted to be like, just go, like all of them. Just jump on. Doesn't jump on you. You're a teenager, man. Jump on YouTube and stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning, and you'll be better at me in like a week.
Yeah,
like
truth.
I mean, it blows my mind too. Like, and there are kids sometimes who I start to give the advice and tell them to take it, and it's real. It's like I just wish I could be a teenager again with all this time in the world and realize that if you just used it, like you'd be killing it.
I know. More and more, I realize the genius of Nike.
Right.
Because really, just do it. Like, it sounds stupid because it's such like a popular saying, but that really is like, how do I do this? Just do it. Like, how do I be a writer? Just do it. Like, sounds goofy, but anyway.
I think everybody just sees the what's a good way of putting it? The fruits of the labor. Like, they're like, well, I just want to write a book, like whatever author, and I feel stupid. I know, like, put an author into my brain. You're like, well, guess what? That book you love wasn't his first. Like, and it wasn't like he wrote a million stories in a notebook somewhere you probably never see. That will, some of them might not even have been great. Like, you don't just become an author because you decide to become an author. You become an author because you had blood, sweat, and tears, just like being an artist.
Yep, you got to get there. And that's, I think, a good point on, you know, you do want to see and hold the fruits of your labor quickly, which I think is good advice towards newer creators of stuff to make short things, you know, make an illustration from start to finish, you know, make a short story. Because once you do get to hold that thing in your hand, once it's printed and completed, it's like tattoos or other stuff. It just becomes addictive, and you just kind of want more and more of that feeling.
Yeah. I don't remember if you said it was, did you say it was, I think you might have quoted Jake Parker on it. You said something about, like, you want a product, not a project, or something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Product, not a project.
And
meaning,
more real.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, like, I'm just saying, like, that's the feeling you need. You need that feeling of, like, I built a thing. And that just means your projects need to be tangible. Like, you need to not, and this is why the reason I'm doing analog missions the way I'm doing it is, like, I mean, I have 1,000 stories with these characters and with this idea, with this like world, but, like, I'm going to start with a 24 page single issue, sum it up all in one nice little package, and work my way up, because it's got to feel good, and it's got to feel like I made a thing, and not just like I'm spending the next 5 years maybe making a thing, because I kind of already spent 2 years maybe making a thing, and it's time to just make it.
Yeah, it looks good though, man. And more, like, we've talked about this a lot, but in some ways, after my next couple of projects, I kind of want to scale it back down a little bit and do the working on form and perspective, and go to some life drawing model stuff and everything, which you've been doing a lot of homework for a while, and once you start hitting your stride in this, I think it's going to flow like wine.
So I've got like 2 or 3 commissions kind of sitting in the back burner that I told, like, I've got this sale and I wanted to get past it. As soon as I finish them, I don't know, I'm basically going to say no to commissions that aren't just like fun little quick little doodles and things like that, and just I'm analog missions up to the end of the year. I want to have something very close to tangible in terms of, like, I'm just formatting and figuring out how to print, so that plan it next year, like, I'll be able to have it on the table.
I love it, man. I love it. Another little goal in the next year, year and a half, maybe even 2 years, just getting everything figured out, is I need to figure out how to, not figure out how to, like, it's already, they have airplanes, it's not hard to figure out, but come back to, like, visit family there in Kansas City and do a Comic-Con and be able to get a table next to you guys and have a little bit of fun. If I've got a place to stay there at the folks' house, it seems like a good reason to do it. So, and it'd be cool to start seeing everybody's books start piling up, man. This is getting exciting.
Rao and I actually talked about that. Like, if you came into town, we could do a 2 table. I'd rather be drawing, and then with him on the end, just like take over a whole row. Like, that would be a blast. There would be so much positivity in that row. We would have, like, the best time ever.
It would. I think we'd make some good old friends. We have every other time, it seems like. So, hey, just jumping back here real quick, you know, got talking, which is great. It looks like Chris Rao finally made an account, he said, on YouTube. So He's getting that all figured out. He's making the leap.
The old man's grown up.
The old man's growing up. But yeah, you kind of were talking a little bit about your project working on this for a charity auction thing going on over the last week. What do you foresee trying to get done in the next week, or maybe a little bit less if we're able to get together this Sunday?
I think I'm gonna just revisit the storyboard. I want to lay out a very tangible, like my storyboard right now is super rough, and I kind of was playing it as I was going. I think I want to lay out like an even more tangible, like roughs of just like maybe the next 10 panels, like get a little more detail in on them so that I can just literally like, I want to ink some of my actual physical pages for Inktober. So, but I know I want to get 30 pages for like one a day, you know, kind of thing. So I'm kind of maybe thinking like half of my Inktober. So I don't know. I'm about to get in the zone, and I'm just gonna like be doing nothing but drawing and hoping to just knock some stuff out here in this next couple of weeks.
So I love it. I don't know if you remember, but last Inktober, I was working on Isabel Crane's comic, and I had it all penciled. And how I kind of broke it up was I was going to use Inktober to ink my comic. So instead of worrying about separate pages, I was thinking keep it to drawings. So I would count a panel, you know. So if it was a smaller panel, I would panel that for one day, and that was Inktober day 1. The second panel, so there might be 4 panels on a page, and that's 4 days of ink drawings that I would kind of do. And then me personally, then on like Fridays, I do Fan Art Friday, which was a picture of October with like a you know, Jason Voorhees or something like that, but to kind of break it up a little bit. So I was doing some original drawings as well, not just inking. But I didn't worry about trying to like do like a whole page in a day for Inktober. I was just like tried to push myself to get a panel done, but even that sometimes, you know, it required a little bit more work, and you're not wanting to rush it just for Inktober. But
I actually love that. I'm sold. Panel a day and every Friday.
Because I mean, it's a drawing a day, and every panel is a different drawing. So I mean, I'm trying to complete a page of inks in a day. I don't know about you. For me, that would be really, really tough because I'm not fast at any of this.
Nah, yeah. One of my things actually is it's going to be a lot of splashes because that's how I draw. So it's going to have panels obviously, but it's going to be a lot of like splash covered pages and stuff like that. Very illustrative because that's like my style, and I'm not trying to fight it. It just goes back to that conversation of just like, it doesn't need to be traditional. I'm not a traditional comic artist. It's like, this is my passion project, and I'm just trying to bring a thing to life. So I'm gonna let it live and be organic. But I kind of like this idea of just chunks of it, or like panels of it, or whatever, and reveal it as I go. Yeah, I like this. This is good. This is a good talk.
I try. Very cool. I like it.
Awesome.
So for me, over the past week, what I've been kind of working on, I sort of showed you, and we've talked about inking on that cover thing. Like I said, I think I like the way it turned out a lot, and there's somebody interested in coloring it for me in kind of a traditional watercolor way, which I'd be interested in checking out what they do, but potentially maybe print that as a postcard thing, the whole, you know, product, not just a project. Because I do really like the way it turned out, and even if it changes a little bit between now and then, I feel like this could make for a cool little thing, even if it's like a free mailer down the road or just something else on the table to help promote October. So that's that I've been working on the last week. And also, oh, I forgot the one thing. I don't know if you saw my video today, and it's okay if you didn't. I won't hold it against you because there's a lot of videos going on out there. But I've been working on these. So let's see here. So for Mr. Green's Monster Zine, right, that's going to be this one. It's kind of set up, well, it's very much set up like Rao's last book, to where you're going to have the image on one side and then the text on the other. But yeah, I was just looking at a plain white page with just kind of the font typed across it, and I wanted something a little bit more. My sort of theme for it was that, which you can tell that this isn't really a likeness. It wasn't originally, but the story I've gone with for the theme for this is that this is me, Mr. Green, and I was kind of hired by a government organization to go do like these sort of character sketches of all of these different monsters and beings of different kinds, because they need to be cataloged and their stories written down for files, you know, much like X-Files or something like that. But you can't take photos of them, because if those got leaked out in the public and were proven real, everything would go crazy. But anyway, so like they have to hire a weird artist that no one cares about or thinks is a loon to go draw all of them. And so like it's kind of like my collection. So anyway, my idea was I'm just a messy artist in charge of all this. So my sketchbook and my supplies I'm running around, I'm always kind of spilling coffee and ink all over everything. And it's turned out kind of cool. If you watch my video on Instagram, for anybody out there, for my day 70, I kind of show how I did these, which was basically just spilling coffee and spilling ink. And then I did a kind of military stamp logo, MGMZ from Mr. Green's Monster Zine, that will be, whichever way this goes, it's kind of like written across the bottom, but faded out the, do what?
It's almost like watermark on each of the pages.
Exactly. Like it's, you know, official paper or something that's been stamped, you know, by the organization, but it just stands for Mr. Green's Monster Zine. And that way that will be in the same place. So there's going to be a different one of these for every page, because personally, when there's like design stuff on pages, especially image wise, I like for it to be different. But that MG, that watermark, will be kind of in the same spot on every page as you just flip through the book. That would stay constant, which I think would look nice. Yeah, so anyway, I'm really excited because I did not know what to do for that. I didn't want to do like scrolly work and page number stuff and all this sort of thing. I want to do something interesting, and this is kind of a bit up my alley with trying to push the theme of the book. You know, it's not just a sketchbook, it's got a whole thing to it. So I've been working on those and even got a couple done in Photoshop, which, you know me, and I figured out how to do all that. And so I'm pretty excited about that. But that's what I've been working on the past week. And what I'd like to have done by Sunday is to have all of those pages done with all of the coffee things and set up. Because once that's done, I think I can, unless I need to like make a page for like an advertisement or filler or anything like that, which I'm not sure if I do or not, I'll really kind of have everything for that done and be able to send it to a printer. Got to figure out the ins and outs of that as well. But if I can have it all done, I'd like to, because I'm excited to see that in print, but I really want to kind of get back to just focusing on scripting this guy as well. So that's my plans for by Sunday.
Cool. That's I like the enthusiasm we got. Did we realize that Sunday is only 5 days away, and 2 days is a lot of time that we've lost already?
Yeah, I know. But I've got, like, the hard part is kind of done. Like, scanning these in sort of takes the longest and, like, waiting for them to dry. But I have, like, the words are all done. So, and, like, files saved. So it's really just putting this image on and blending the layers or whatnot. So it's really not too hard. I think I can actually get that done.
Yeah.
By Sunday. We'll see. But anyway.
Cool. Well, the more I think about it, I don't really know how much I'll have done. I just know that my next month is looking good, because most of what I'm going to be doing here is going to get things printed and ready for the sale on Saturday. But, you know, it's all going to be background doodling little. I guess my real plan would be the layouts. I need my layouts done so that this whole next week I can just like knock stuff out. But also, like I said, I have a couple commissions I just need to like kind of like get through and make look good and do my thing with.
Makes good sense, man. Either way, as long as we're still making a little bit of progress each day, right?
Yeah. But I think that's a good wrap-up place. I am ready for bed, and I gotta go work.
I hear you, brother. You're getting all tired and a little bit mumbly.
Yeah, I can tell. I'm like, I lost my momentum went out about 10 minutes ago, and I was like, oh, let's do this thing. I can push through.
When I was droning on, you started going.
Well, it's that combination of like, I actually care to hear this, and I think I might fall asleep.
No sweat, man. No, this is a good episode. I really enjoyed it. Tell Rao hey, and tell him thanks for coming on, and good luck and all that stuff. But everybody, really go check it out. We'll get to all the links put in there and everything. But I want you to check out his Kickstarter called I Had a Nightmare. Like we said, even if, you know, I know it's a lot of artists following other artists on here and stuff, but if anybody can share that stuff or tell people about it, it's for real good artwork, and sounds like it's going to have a really cool story behind it. A little bit of a different thing than just a standard comic book, which it's always fun getting to see people's creativity. So please go check that out.
Awesome. Well, you want to do the spiel again, or do you want to just send people to the show notes?
Just check out the show notes. I think you guys have heard our spiels a lot. We're getting tired. You know, Instagram, Scott O Green, David Fleming. Psh, that's where the awesome art is. Once you see that, that's us.
Yeah, just anywhere the awesome art is, you know, you're watching that.
Just Google's awesome art. You'll find us.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, guys. If you made it all the way to the end, we appreciate the listeners. We appreciate everyone who catches us live. And we're sorry we missed that last week with our technical difficulties. But I don't know. I really feel proud about how consistent we've been keeping this.
Absolutely. Loving it, man.
Until next time. Peace out, duders.